Craven County Board of Commissioners regular session for Monday, June 1st is now in session. I would ask you to put all your phones on silent ring. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Booker,
Here.
Commissioner Liner,
Here.
Commissioner McCabe, Commissioner Mitchell, Commissioner Sampson, Vice Chairman Jones,
Here.
Chairman Mark,
Here.
and then for those that, I get the rest in the room. We have in the room also County Manager Jack VEIT,
Here.
Finance Director Craig Warren,
Here.
County Attorney Ari Grady.
Here.
Those that are participating remote, Assistant County Manager Gene Hodges, Human Resource Director Amber Parker. Here. Jason Frederick.
He's here.
Chad Strawn. Here. Andrew Shorter. Here. And Steve Creel.
Okay. We stand for the pledge and the prayer, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God our Father, you guide everything in wisdom and love. You are good and forgiving, full of love to all who call upon you. We now praise you for that love and rejoice in your abundant blessing. You call us today to grow in the knowledge of that love and invite us to receive your blessings. Accept the prayers we offer for our beloved county. Protect us and keep us ever in your sight. Fill these commissioners with your holy wisdom, and may that wisdom lead to right action. Strengthen all county representatives as they labor for the common good and for what is just in your eyes. May true harmony, lasting freedom, and justice be secured for all so that there may be lasting peace. We ask this in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. All right, Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to look over the agenda. Do I have any changes to the agenda or additions? Being no changes, do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Next is public hearing on proposed 2020-2021 budget.
Mr. Chairman, we do not have anyone that has signed up for the public hearing.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing? Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, with no one being on the agenda signed up, I would make a motion that we go out of public hearing.
Okay. Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Next is public hearing on flood damage prevention ordinance. Okay. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
Jack, only one, or both of them come in?
Just Jason.
Okay. Just the one.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are here tonight to conduct a public hearing to receive comments regarding the proposed amendments to the county's flood damage prevention ordinance. The Board of Commissioners on May 18th, 2020 voted in favor of holding a public hearing on June 1st, 2020 tonight to receive public comments on the proposed amendments to this ordinance. Tonight's public hearing was set after receiving a signed resolution of planning consistency from the Craven County Planning Department, which was done during their regularly scheduled planning board meeting on March 26, 2020. As set forth in North Carolina General Statutes, in advance of tonight's meeting, 2 public notices about the public hearing were placed in the Sun Journal on May 21st and 28th, 2020. The proposed ordinance was posted for public review to the county's website on May 18th, 2020, as well as made readily available for review at the Office of Planning and Inspections. At this time, we would like to request the board to receive any comments from citizens wishing to do so at this time.
Being that there's no one here to speak, do we have a motion to go out of public hearing?
I'd go ahead and do just a quick motion to go in since I didn't have it, and then a quick motion to go out.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make that motion, we go into public hearing.
Okay, and a motion to go out?
I make that motion.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Next is petition of citizens. Do we have any citizens?
Mr. Chairman, we have no one that signed up tonight.
Okay, then we don't need to read the general statement. Next is the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of May 18th, regular session, minutes of May 22nd, and reconvened budget work session, plus the tax releases. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bucher,
Yes.
Commissioner Liner,
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe, Vice Chairman Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Mark.
Yes, thank you. Next is planning adoption of flood damage prevention ordinance. Jason Fredericks.
Okay.
Time for the speaker.
Okay, I'm here tonight to present the amendments to the flood damage prevention ordinance. FEMA-approved flood maps, as provided by North Carolina Flood Mapping Program, are set to go into effect on June 19th, 2020 for Craven County. To remain in compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program, the county is required to amend our current ordinance to reflect the newly revised state model flood damage prevention ordinance, which regulates development within the regulatory flood zones. Approving amendments as written within the revised flood damage prevention ordinance will coincide with the adoption of the FEMA state and approved flood maps. These maps were released to the county and to the public through the state's website, ncfriz.gov, for review June 30th, 2016. These maps were created using data collected from past hurricanes such as Emily of 93, Fran of 96, Isabel of 2003, Ophelia in 2005, and 2 extratropical storms of 2006, as well as 600 plus synthetic computer simulated storms. In general, while reviewing the maps, we observed some changes to base flood elevations, ranging from a reduction of 2 feet to an increase of 3 feet, as well as new flood zones identified as the coastal high hazard area, more commonly referred to as the VE zone. The addition of a VE zone will have minimal effect on the county, only approximately impacting 50 structures in the county's jurisdiction. The new VE zone reflects areas subject to wave action up to 3 feet, which will result in new regulatory standards for development in these areas. Based on most current data released by the State Mapping Program, Craven County Unincorporated had seen the addition of 331 structures added to the regulatory AE flood zone and 438 removed structures, which resulted in a net loss of 107 structures overall. It should be noted that for properties removed from the AE flood zone, we strongly encourage them to maintain their flood insurance and keep that policy current. Since the release of these flood maps, the Planning Department has used many methods to raise awareness to inform the public of the proposed flood map changes, such as notification on their tax bills, announcements on the county's website, public workshops and events, presentations to local organizations, outreach to each township, as well as flood assistance via phone or in-office meetings with the public. Failure to adopt these amendments to the ordinance will result in loss of flood insurance for homeowners, along with federally supported disaster assistance funds. Changes in the flood damage prevention ordinance can be largely found in Article 2, definitions. This is where we have some clarifications, such as mainly additions of definitions to deal with that new VE zone. Terms such as coastal A zones, high hazard areas, and coastal barrier resources were added so we can effectively regulate any type of development within this new VE zone. We've never had to do that before. In Article 4, we had administrative process clarifications. In this section, we see clarifications to our elevation certificate language, as well as language that deals with substantial damage and substantial improvements to existing buildings. We had to deal a lot with that with Hurricane Florence. I think everybody's aware of the need to elevate after a 50% damage to their structure. Also listed in this section is language to better assist in the responsible development regarding our newly proposed subdivisions in the community. Article 5 is the floodplain development standards. These are your development regulations. In this new section, you'll see the VE zone in the ordinance that was provided to you. The purpose of this new zone is to address potential wave action damage in these areas near open waters, mainly along the Neuse River. The VE zone is defined by wave action of 3 feet or more in these areas. This additional language in our ordinance to regulate construction standards within the zone. Though the development potential in this area is small, we must have standards to which we can apply to effectively regulate these areas. When you think of V zones, you need to think of development that resembles what you see at the coast or at the beach. These are homes built on piers, pylons, and columns with house access and parking underneath a livable structure. So at this time, planning staff requests the amendments to the Craven County Flood Damage Prevention Ordinance be adopted by the Craven County Board of Commissioners to become effective June 19th, 2020. We want to mirror the effective date of when the maps go live for the county, and we would like our ordinance to be dated as such as well to have that coincide, June 19th, 2020. Also, as required by North Carolina General Statutes, planning staff requests the board to authorize the chairman to sign a resolution of planning consistency in support of the proposed amendments. And at this time, if you have any questions or comments that you would like to
Let's
ask.
get a motion first. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion. Commissioners have any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Jason, how does the citizen go about in getting the flood insurance? Is it automatically sent to their insurance provider? I mean, how does that process go?
Typically, if you were pulled into that flood zone, that would be a conversation to be had with the homeowner and their insurance company. A lot of times, I can't speak for all companies out there because we talk to lots of our citizens and they don't have flood insurance, or they're being rated with not having an elevation certificate. So it's nothing that we mandate, so it should be a conversation between them and their insurance provider to now incorporate the mandate. If you have a federally backed mortgage, a home loan, you are required by law to now have flood insurance.
So the burden rests on the homeowner if they have a mortgage to do.
That's correct.
Is there a penalty? Let's just say, I mean, I know you sent out notification after notification, but let's just say there's a citizen out there for some reason still does not know about it. I mean, and they go through, just say a year and do not have it.
Sure.
Are they penalized for not having it?
I don't believe there's a penalty in place, but what they risk is not being insured or not being eligible for certain federal mitigation funds, because a lot of that is a requirement that you had flood insurance. If you flooded out and you had flood insurance, then you were eligible to receive federal mitigation money to elevate your home. It's a prerequisite for that program.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
You feel we've contacted everybody that's been added to the 107 or so, or moved, additional 330? Have we reached out? You feel comfortable?
I feel comfortable. We blanketed the community. We've outreached to organizations in the community. We've been to notary groups. We've been to any type of group that is in real estate. We've been to each township. And the numerous phone calls that we have. The one good thing in my almost 15 years here at the county is how progressive the county is with talking with its citizens about this program. It's of no surprise. Back from 2005, I remember, 2004, we had the 2-foot freeboard enacted. I came in 2005, and it was flood was my main purpose, and it seems like people are just so knowledgeable, and it's a testament to how serious we take it and how involved we are. So there's always going to be somebody, I'm sure, but as I stand here, I do believe we've done a great outreach.
Mr. Liner, I think to just further what Mr. Frederick said, we hosted 2 events down at the Convention Center 2018.
The convention center was in 2000. I think Chad has those dates.
16?
16.
Those 2 events, trying to
That's
target
correct.
the folks who are there. We went to each commissioner district during our tour of the county where we held a night meeting. I think Jason or Chad or Don were a part of each one of those to try to reach out. Did we do the tax bill as well?
We did the tax bill.
Put a notice on the tax bill to the, I mean, we really tried to cover our bases over the last 3 years to make sure.
Connect with Craven.
Connect with Craven in a booth, that's right. Okay.
All right, thank you.
The minimum 3 feet, does that take it from 10 to 11 in the VE?
Okay, so the essentially that the 3 feet rise in base flood elevation, it really depends. It's very site specific as far as what your elevation certificate says. But yes, essentially, if you have a ground elevation of 8 feet, and some of those elevations have increased to 9. It ranges where you're at in the county. So from 2, we've seen anywhere from 2 to 3, and the reduction of that base flood is where you saw the properties removed from that flood.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Being no other questions? All those in favor of adoption of the flood damage prevention plan, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chad.
Next on the agenda is the Airport FAA grant funding request. Andrew Shorter.
Good evening. Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Chair. Appreciate you having me here tonight. Unlike the last meeting where we were talking about a grant for the CARES Act, this is more in the normal line of our grants. This is a grant for the Aircraft Rescue Firefighting Building. If you remember back in November that we received a supplemental grant from the FAA, which was a grant we competed for and was awarded that grant. Since then, we have bid the building, got that back, and now we've issued the application for the grant, and that's what I'm here to talk about tonight. The amount of the grant, and this is a draft grant right now, and some of you will recall that we've done this before, where the FAA staff work doesn't quite line up with the meetings and when we need these grants done. So I'd like you to consider this tonight, knowing that the signed grant is expected at any day. I really wish and kind of thought I might have got it by today. But
You don't have the money.
No, sir. You know, it's all about the staff work. So it's in staffing right now, but this grant is for $5.248 million. If you do recall back the grant that we were awarded, the supplemental was $4.9 million. That was based off an application we had done 18 months prior, so the engineer's estimate was a little bit light, taking into account the time. So the 5.248 was a good number. All the bidders we had for the building were all in a tight shot group, so we feel that's good. The FAA has already reviewed this. This is the number they're putting forward to fund, and we don't see any problem with that. So this is 90%. So on the airport, you know, to us, the bogey is $583,000. Now that's where the CARES Act money does come in, because we have put that into our operating budget for 21, and we will pay that through the CARES Act funding. So essentially, this ends up being a 100% funded building from the FAA for next year. So quite a good situation for the airport.
Okay. Do we have a motion to accept? So move.
Second.
All those in favor say, discussion. Any questions? Being no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those nay, the ayes have it. We didn't need a roll call vote on that, did we?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's not our budget.
You're just authorizing.
Okay.
Sir, I will give it to the attorney as soon as we get the written one, and then I think they'll contact you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Andy.
Okay, Department Matters Facilities, Gene Hodges and Steve Creel.
Good evening, Board. It's got two matters in front of you tonight. The first one is the approval of Hurricane Florence repair work for the courthouse complex. On December 2nd, 2019, the Craven County Board of Commissioners approved the selection of Barnhill Contracting Company as the construction manager at risk, called a CM&R, for the repairs of the Courthouse Emergency Services Information Technology Facility, also called the courthouse. With this method of delivery, the design team and the CM&R team put together bid specs and designs into bid packages for the different trades related to this project, meaning HVAC, elevator, plumbing, etc. There must be a minimum of 3 bids for each package to open on the first bid date. Bids were collected and opened virtually on April 21st for the first round and April 30th for the rebid. As a reminder, there were 5 main systems that needed to be replaced or repaired in this facility. These 5 systems are the elevator that services the Sally Port, fire pump, suppression system, boiler, chiller, and air handler. Initially, the plans and specs bid out installation of a portable temporary air handler chiller, but the prices for this were in the $500,000 to $700,000 range, including the rental of the unit for the time that it would be needed. It's been decided to bid this out as permanent repair work instead. The bid documents as presented in attachment number 7A are for a total amount of $1,132,110. This includes replacement and rework of the elevator that services the Sally Port, installation of a boiler in the new location on the 3rd floor, and analysis and repair work to the fire suppression system to remove the requirement of the fire pump and service the fire sprinkler system with the flow from the municipal water system. A project ordinance amendment and budget amendment in the amount of $1,894,453 are also attached. The amounts that make up this amendment are as follows: architect and engineering fees of $550,000, construction costs and CM&R fees of $1,280,453, a 5% contingency of the construction costs of $64,000 for a total of $1,894,453. Once the county receives the bid for the permanent repairs to the chiller and air handler, another project ordinance amendment and budget amendment will be brought back to the board for approval. The request is for the Board of Commissioners to approve a project ordinance amendment and associated budget amendment in the amount of $1,894,453 to fund this project and to authorize the county manager to execute the agreement with Barnhill Contracting for this phase of the repairs to the courthouse. And this will require a roll call vote.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Being no discussion, I have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Booker,
Yes.
Commissioner Liner,
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Martin.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. My next item, the selection for architect for a long-range facility improvement program. At the February 17, 2020 Board of Commissioners work session, there were several facility projects that were presented. At this meeting, the board gave direction to issue a request for qualifications, an RFQ, to invite interested firms to submit their qualifications to provide architectural, engineering, and design services on a number of capital projects. The capital projects in the RFQ include a maintenance facility located at 300 Howell Road, maintenance facility, this will be looking at some existing facilities we have, so maintenance facility at 300 Howell Road, the maintenance facility located at 308 New Street, which is the current existing maintenance facility, a new EOC 911 IT facility located at a new location, which is Phase 1, a new county administration building located at a new location, which would be Phase 2 of the Phase 1 project, new Board of Education Administration building co-located at a new location, Phase 2 of that same project. Rehabilitation of the current Craven County Administration building, the building that we're currently in. Rehabilitation, remodel of the Craven County Tax Office. Rehabilitation, remodel of the vacant EOC 911 IT offices in the Craven County Courthouse facility. Rehabilitation, remodel of Human Services Annex. A new governmental multi-use office building located in Havelock. Just to put it in perspective, they're not saying commence with all these projects, but these are the projects that we would contemplate using an architect to submit a proposal for to be the architect of record for these projects going forward. The RFQ was issued on March 25th and responses were due on April 21st. 10 firms submitted responses, but after consultation with the county attorney, only 3 firms were deemed responsive, either due to timeliness or not providing the response in a form as prescribed in the RFQ. An evaluation team consisting of the assistant county manager, the facilities director, the facilities maintenance coordinator, and purchasing agent was formed to review the responses and conduct electronic interviews. Rating sheets for both the RFQ responses and the interviews are shown as attachment number 7B. Based on these evaluations, we recommend Oakley Collier Architects, OCA, be awarded this project. The team felt that OCA brought to the project a level of experience, current knowledge of our facilities, and a strong mix of sub-consultants necessary to complete the project within the guidelines and timeline that's provided in the RFQ. Additionally, Craven County's experience with OCA has been outstanding, and our projects have progressed both timely and efficiently. The next step will be negotiating a fee in terms of a contract with the selected firm and to begin refining the scope of these various projects. The request is for the board to award this project to Oakley Collier Architects and authorize the management team to work on preparing a contract and having it prepared for signature.
Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Jack, when we talked about this, it was in February, and we were definitely in a different time than which we are now. By committing to proceed forward, I mean, we said, he just said the next step would be negotiating a fee in terms of a contract. If this board decided they did not want to, you know, after we approved this, we did not want to move forward in doing anything in the foreseeable future, I mean, is anything to come back on us with this?
No, sir. I think it's gonna be the bill of work that Mr. Hodges would assign based on the board's commitment to a certain project. Let's talk about one thing that's in the upcoming budget is to go ahead and do the environmental and the design work for the new Havelock building, so we can prioritize within the list as the board pulls these forward. And I think as we've discussed, and certainly for the camera tonight, a lot of our ambition in October and February has probably been slowed to a great deal by the coronavirus. So I think we would take this patiently and we would take it project by project. I think if we got to a project and we said, hey, we're just not doing it, I think we would simply never have a bill to work for that project. Mr. Hodges, please, Eric,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Yes.
But again,
Commissioner Lionel.
I'm going to jump in here. I mean, by having this done and having not necessarily project ready, but far enough along, we've always got the avenue of coming down of the infrastructure funding that the feds are looking at, getting workers back to work. I mean, the better off we are on having project-ready projects, the better prepared we are to push this forward.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's the situation we're in with the 25 million for that's coming down now. We don't have anything ready to move forward with.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think what this is, you can move as slow or as fast with this process as you want. It's controlled purely by what investment you make in each project.
This is just getting stuff on the shelf.
We're getting it on the shelf. And to the, for the Havelock project in particular, we know we have to because we're gonna lose our building. So if we don't get started, we're gonna get behind on the schedule of that. So.
I think, again, Mr. Chairman, and the county manager said it, I just think for the citizens of this county to take away tonight is if they see this list, oh, this Board of Commissioners is gonna go out and do all these things. No, that's, this is a thing for the future, but I agree with the comment Commissioner Liner made. So.
And I think it's safe to say this is a 7 to 10 year horizon of projects. This is not we're going to start doing this tomorrow. If not, I'd probably be retired by now. But this is a 7 to 10 year window on the optimistic side.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, that's good, Ian. All right, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Next is the finance lottery application. Craig Warren, Finance Director.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening.
I have one item on the agenda for you tonight. That is the lottery application. Each year, the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners jointly approve a project application, as shown in attachment number 8, to be submitted to the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. This application is required in order to draw down lottery proceeds that have been allocated to Craven County in the Public School Building Capital Fund. These funds are restricted and can only be used for school construction projects or to retire debt incurred as a result of these school construction projects. At this time, I'd like to ask for the board to approve this submittal of the application.
Okay, do I have a motion for the lottery application?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next is appointments pending, current, and upcoming. Adult Care Home Advisory Committee, vacancy. Nursing Home Advisory Committee, vacancy. Recreation Advisory Committee, District 5, vacancy. Regional Aging Advisory Board, and Senior Legislative Tar Heels. Current appointments, Emergency Medical Service Advisory Council. Tom Brubaker is seeking reappointment. He represents the City of New Bern 9/11 Center. Do I have an appointment?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, approved by acclamation. Havelock Planning Board, ETJ, the term of Marion Sykes is due to expire and does not wish to be reappointed. Do we have an appointment for Havelock?
No.
No. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, would you
Yes.
like us to get a list of names?
Yep.
Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, the term of Jennifer Dacey is due to expire June 30th. Mrs. Dacey wishes to be reappointed. Robert Bridson has submitted his application showing seeking appointment to fill the vacancy left by resignation of Todd Stewart.
Make a motion.
Okay, to reappoint
Jennifer Dacey.
Jennifer Dacey and Robert Brinson. I'll make an appointment on that one, so that's by acclamation. Coastal Carolina Regional Airport, and I have a letter here from Mr. Shorter stating that 2 of the Airport Authority members have terms which will expire on June 30th, 2020. The Authority Chairman, Mr. Charles Meekins, and the Long Range Planning Committee Chairman, Jerry Jackson. Both members have enthusiastically agreed to remain on the Airport Authority for an additional year to round out their service to a full 10 years. As the airport director, I can attest to their valued membership, and we support their request for reappointment. We are in particularly turbulent time for commercial service airports right now, and it would be helpful to maintain the authority's current roster as is for the next 12 months. We would appreciate you to continue to appoint these 2 individuals.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to ask that we table this appointment until September the 1st, 2020.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion to table it and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay. Next is the Craven Social Service Board. The term of Lorraine Mark, that name sounds familiar, is due to expire, and she does not wish to be reappointed. She can't be reappointed. Gwen Bryan has submitted her application shown in attachment 9B seeking appointment to this board, and I'll appoint Gwen Bryan by acclamation. Upcoming appointments, term expiring in June 30th, 20. Craven County Tourism Development Authority, Fire Tax Commissioners, Nursing Home Advisory Committee, Craven County ABC Board, Eastern Carolina Regional Authority, and New Bern Planning and Zoning Board.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Sir, could we have the staff, could you provide us with a list of who's coming up off of these seats?
Yeah, that's a good idea, especially the tax
So,
commission.
yeah, the tax, the fire tax, and then the ABC board. Who's,
I'll send you an email this
Okay.
week.
The
Thank you.
ABC board is one person. You've got his application in there.
Just, I want to make sure, Mr. Chairman, I also, and this, I just slipped my mind, but I believe we also have a Craven County Community College Board appointment at the next meeting.
At the next meeting, yes.
The June 15th meeting.
Right.
That was the one that we tried to get the term right. We had a midterm.
Yeah. You only have that one appointment on the ABC board, and we have an application there for it. I believe he sent each commissioner a letter to be reappointed. At least I got a letter.
Well, Nan, you gonna send us something?
Yeah.
I'll
Email?
send an email of
Yeah.
all the reappointments,
Thank you.
yeah, that are listed.
Okay. Next is the county attorney's report. We can't wait for this one.
I think the chairman just wanted to get off that last appointment with the last name of Mark, right? I have 4 items for the board's consideration this evening, all 4 dealing with county property acquired through tax foreclosures. The first is a final offer to sell the property with a parcel ID number of 9046115. The board has previously approved this property for sale. It's an amount of $1,300. The total taxes and costs originally foreclosed were $23.44.21. The matter has gone through the upset bid process, and there were no upset bids. It's my recommendation that the board give final approval to this so we can get it back on the tax rolls.
Okay, do I have a motion?
so moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Item number 2 is most likely in the spirit of a little bit of overkill, but this is a jointly owned parcel of property between the county and the city of New Bern. As it has been the custom over the years, we let the municipality take the lead in accepting bids and contracts for this property. We did have a prior bid in the amount of $375, which was approved by this board and by the city. There was an upset bid process, and the bid went up by $75 to $450. We granted that final approval. However, the bidder did not follow through, so we have to go back to square one and essentially start over on this. The initial bidder is back in the game at the price of $375. Unfortunately, we do have to go through the upset bid process, and it's our recommendation that the board accept that initial offer, and hopefully we can get the thing closed this time.
Yeah, so we paid $600 in ads to get him.
Twice.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it.
Item number 3 is an initial offer on property located on Southwest Craven Middle School Road. The parcel ID number is 9048181. The offer amount is $5,000. The original taxes and costs from the tax foreclosure were $6,210.70. The current tax value is $8,950. It's my recommendation the board approve this initial offer so we can send it through the upset bid process and hopefully be back with a final offer later in the summer.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Item number 4 is a slightly different type of transaction, but one that the board has had before it recently with another property. This is jointly owned property with the city of New Bern, 209 Lawson Street. We did acquire this property through a tax foreclosure. But this is a property that the city is going to condemn and demolish the structure on the property. We've basically got two options. We can participate in that process with the city and pay our cost, or the city has historically allowed us to just essentially give the city our interest in the property, and then the city will handle it. The board has, in previous similar situations, agreed to transfer the property to the city, and then we don't have to worry about demolition or costs. It's my recommendation that you follow that course on this item.
That would be very smart. I have a motion?
First, go. Make a motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The nays, ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
Question on that.
Question?
Yes.
It's another one where they're gonna demolish the project.
Yes, sir.
I wanna make sure we got something in our file that reminds us in 6 months or whatever. The city has a habit of, speak from experience, not necessarily doing what they have an obligation to do. I could elaborate, but I don't think it's necessary. So I want to make sure at some point we've got to follow up to make sure that they did in fact demolish this property.
And after the last demolition property, we did communicate that to the city attorney, who agreed to keep us posted, and we've got it on a 6-month tickler. We'll put this one on the list as well.
Thank you.
Just add that to the motion.
Yep.
I'll concur.
Okay.
It's
All
all
in
up-
favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
And now we have the esteemed county manager.
Oh, man.
Steve.
Mr. Chairman, you know, it's been 4 months since I've been in front of a podium, so you better be careful tonight. Wow, that microphone. You're a tall guy. Holy cow. All right, Mr. Chairman. Wanted to update you on several things tonight. One is, as the board's aware, we were required by the state to submit a CARES Act funding plan by today. Craig notified me around lunchtime that plan was submitted. As the board's aware, we discussed it last week during one of our budget work sessions, since it has so much to do with next year's budget. That plan was submitted as approved by the board. We'll continue, Craig and I now, to meet with the individuals who are part of that plan to discuss how those funds will be expended. As you're aware, you shared some of those funds with your municipalities, your volunteer fire departments, and your rescue squads. So we'll be communicating with them along with the county departments who will deal with some of that money internally. So Craig, thank you, and Amanda for your hard work. I know that was a rush to get it done with a lot of nebulous guidance from many directions, so but it's in, so that's good. Any questions about CARES Act funding? Okay. I was going to check with the board. I wanted to thank you for your work with us during the budget process. We had some discussion, I believe it was last Thursday was the last day we met, about a future meeting. I would like to see if there's still a desire. I mean, typically we see what the feedback is from the public. I didn't hear any tonight. Obviously, you may be getting emails or calls about things that are in there. But it's your choice now. We know where we left it. I provided you a sheet tonight that showed you all the changes that happened through, I believe, the 3 budget work sessions. For some reason, my mind's slipping me there. But, it's up to you if you would like to have another one. We had tentatively scheduled one for 8:30 at Wednesday. I am aware there's at least one commissioner that is unable to attend that time, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we're not really sure at this point what time she can attend. I think if we could get in touch with her, maybe we could put it off till Thursday.
Well, the important thing, and I'm going to look at Nan and Ari here for a second, you'll need to recess this meeting to a time specific, place specific, date specific.
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't do that, then we'll have to call for a special meeting, which requires 48 hours notice.
Oh, boy.
So that would be basically, if we don't do that until sometime tomorrow, it'd be sometime Thursday before we can meet. You could tentatively set a meeting for whatever time you did. If it doesn't work, we can always try to come in. Maybe we have 4 of you come in and recess that one to the next time. I mean, it's a bit challenging now.
You gonna email her?
Why don't I come back to that?
Yeah,
We'll just,
let's-
let's
let's
leave it
come back
open,
to
but
that
let's
one.
touch on it
Right.
before we leave. I did want to make a note, and I know it's a little bit off subject, but this person meant a lot to me, and I know many of you knew him, but I was very saddened last week to hear the passing of Commissioner Jonathan Robinson from Carteret County.
Yeah.
Commissioner Robinson had served since the late 1990s as a commissioner. Before that, he served in the NC House. As many of you are aware, I worked in Carteret County for some years back in the early 2000s, and he was certainly someone I looked up to, was always advocating for things that were meaningful to him, worked hard for his constituents, and did a lot for East North Carolina. Commissioner Robinson was someone that was very passionate about waterways and folks who work on the water as a commercial fisherman, and I was really sad to see him pass, and I know he'll have big shoes to fill there. And I know many of you knew him. I think Commissioner Liner and I had dinner with him last August in Greensboro. Just a great guy, so wanted to make you aware of that. Lastly, it was really nice to see Gwen Bryan getting back in on the DSS board. It's always a pleasure to have folks that serve the county well for many years coming back to serve again. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
County Manager, do you have a date on the Mr. Robinson arrangements?
I do not. I've asked for that. I have not heard anything.
I called Eddie Bowe, and he's supposed to get back in contact with me, but he hasn't yet.
Okay.
Well, I know him very well myself.
Yep. Okay. Which I'll just, if you'll come back to me before we end, we'll.
Okay. Next is the commissioners' reports. Commissioner Booker,
I have nothing.
Commissioner McCabe,
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Liner.
You know I always got something.
We know that.
First of all, I think you know we're missing two commissioners. Both out ill. Commissioner Mitchell is over at the hospital with her father, trying to get some issues taken care of, so our prayers go out to them. We're in troubling times. COVID virus is not over with. We gotta continue to run with that and get that done, so ask everybody to stay safe and protect themselves. And that's all, sir.
Okay. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two things. First, since Commissioner Liner mentioned the COVID, County Manager, is there any update on that we need to know?
Yes, sir. I'll tell you what, if you do item one, let me just grab a piece of paper off my desk.
All right. While he's doing that, Mr. Chairman, fellow board members, had a discussion today with the sheriff, and in recent days, his staff have done an inventory of the personal protective gear that they have in the sheriff's department. And as they look at how they can properly protect themselves and protect the citizens of Craven County and also protect personal property of our citizens, they feel like that they do not have adequate personal protective gear like they should. Having said that, I asked, they've been doing a little research on some things and some prices. And one of the things I want to state for the record and for all of you is first is the gear that they're talking about is non-lethal gear. We're not talking about anything lethal, non-lethal. It is not for the SRT team, but it is for a mobile field team. And they have itemized out here a list of needs that they have for the sheriff's department. And it would be for 2 8-man teams, a total of 16 individuals, and then to have 2 spares. So you would have enough weight team, but just to man 16 individuals. This gear is, again, it's the protective gear for these individuals who are protecting us. And I think that after looking at it and hearing what they had to say and, you know, definitely something that we need to have on hand for our sheriff's department for years to come. Mr. Chairman, tonight, if you will allow me, I'd like to make a motion that this board approve $34,000 out of fund balance to cover this personal protective gear.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Being no discussion, have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Booker,
Yes.
Commissioner Liner,
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Mark.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Chairman, and I'll go back to the county manager.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that. I normally bring it in with me, and I left it on my desk. But today's count, which was around noon time, we had 208 total cases. 104 of those are active, 99 are recovered, and we still have the 5 deaths in our county, and 3 people remain hospitalized, which has been fairly consistent over the last couple weeks. I will tell you, I just went back and traced the numbers. On Saturday, we were at 203. On Sunday, we were at 207, and today we're at 208. So we picked up 5 cases since Saturday, and that's been a trend of a few cases each day. I've spoken with the health director, not today, but I did speak with him late last week. It's still more of that same grouping that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. We have seen that spread into some local businesses that we had not seen earlier. They're dealing with that. Our economic developer, Jeff Wood, has been very active with those companies to make sure they've got the protocols and helping advise them if they need it and work with them. I know everybody's working really hard to contain it. I will tell you, from speaking with the health director, there's been a tremendous amount of testing done over the last several weeks based on symptomatic and folks who have been exposed, potentially exposed to those folks. So that's the report I have. So unless you have questions, I'll be happy to answer anything I know.
Any questions? Those figures should start to come down pretty fast now because we've hit about the 3rd week, I think, of about 17 or 15 that we had.
Sir, so as I look here, there were a couple of days that you had some rather large spikes. If we look back in time, one was on 5/22, May 22nd, May 23, and then you had one a small spike on May 26th. So yeah, you've had some up and down. So it's usually about a 10 to 14 day cycle of when someone has not shown symptoms for 72 hours. That's the key to being recovered. So yes, you're right. Significant amount of cases falls.
Okay.
The last thing, Mr. Chairman, I would just state, we're going to talk about budget some more, but I just want to commend staff for all the hard work that they put into the budget. I think this Board of Commissioners worked well together just for the last 2 weeks in assembling and had some strong debate, but that's what we're here for. And so I commend all of you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Okay. I'll hold my comments on that when we finish the budget. We didn't get anything from,
Nothing.
okay.
No.
What's your advice on
Yes,
this?
sir. I'd love to take it. In speaking with that individual, and I know a lot's changed since I spoke with her yesterday, 4 p.m. on Wednesday appeared to be a good time. Why don't you tentatively set it there so we can recess to that time? If something changes, then we can go ahead and notice it and just.
And recess to
Yeah,
another.
we'll just have to.
Okay. Okay, why don't we do that? I have a motion to recess until Wednesday at 4 p.m.
So moved.
Do you need everyone to be there? Cause it's supposed to be Wednesday, 8:30, you changed it to 4 o'clock.
Well, that was because we had someone that couldn't come.
Yeah, I don't know about Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
I also understand Thursday at 4 o'clock was okay. It's
Yeah.
purely your call.
It's, you know, it's the budget.
I know it's a budget.
It shouldn't take, it shouldn't take that long. We're not looking, I don't think we're looking at more than an hour.
You can put it down.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Uh, The only thing I have to report is that I hope everybody is still distancing the 6 feet and washing their hands often and wearing a mask if they so desire. Other than that, I'd like to call an adjournment.
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.